pursue one great decisive aim with force and determination. These words of Karl von Clausewitz perhaps can be the best policy advice for the current situation in Central Asia. As the global community was readjusting itself to the global structure created by the withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan and the crisis in Ukraine, it was possible to observe the attempt of Central Asian countries to gain greater autonomy over the regional affairs. The region is on the verge of deciding on whether to determine its future through deeper regional cooperation mechanisms or to continue being shaped with the game of power balance between the external actors. In July of 2022, in the city of Cholpon-Ata near the lake Sakul, in Kyrgyzstan, leaders of Central Asia has met to discuss the new direction of regional development. The fourth consultative meeting of the heads of Central Asian states has shed light on the preferences of nations in their view of regional development. A number of proposals concerning cooperation in the spheres of security, economic relations, regional transportation, and environmental cooperation have been discussed. To understand the situation in a better manner, let's dive deeper into what happened in Kyrgyz city of Cholpon-Ata in July of this year. One of the major topics of the meeting has been the topic of regional security. All presidents, except the leader of Kazakhstan, have focused on the impact of the situation in Afghanistan on the regional security. The leader of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, has focused on the issues such as resolving regional conflicts, delimitation, demarcation of the borders, and readiness to provide needed assistance in the process. His speech also included the creation of mechanism for regular meetings of the Secretaries of Security Councils of Central Asian states. The President of Uzbekistan also welcomed the idea of such a mechanism for meetings between the Secretaries of Security Councils. The President of Kazakhstan has also mentioned the need for regular meetings of foreign ministers and the establishment of the concept of cooperation of Central Asian states for mutual coordination of security matters with external actors such as Russia and China. Russia remains the significant military power in the region. However, this summit has shown that the previous preference of Central Asia to have Russia as the regional guarantor of security and stability is shifting towards a more comprehensive regional structure for cooperation on security matters. The situation in Afghanistan supported the creation of such a platform, and the need for a regional security platform would enable regulation of the region's situation. Central Asian leaders have also focused on the importance of internal stability and applauded the steps taken in this direction in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. The aim of greater cooperation in the economic sphere has further solidified the need for strengthening the partnership among these countries. As most speeches focused on the need for an increase in the regional trade, there were notable proposals and examples which showed the possible ways of cooperation. Such has been the call made by the President of Kyrgyz Republic, Sadyr Japarov, to lift the tariffs on the trade between the regional countries, the proposal made by the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan to cooperate in the regional import substitution industrialization, the mentioning by the leaders of Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan of the future establishment of the International Center for Industrial Cooperation in Central Asia on the Kazakh-Uzbek border, and industrial trade and logistics complex on the Kazakh-Kyrgyz border. It was mainly in the speech of the President of Uzbekistan that the change in the global market was mentioned, where regional trade will play a more significant role in the revival and development of region's economies. In the context of the Central Asian region being located at the crossroads of significant trade areas, all leaders have focused on transportation. The President of the Republic of Kazakhstan has mentioned the number of railroad and road projects connecting Kazakhstan with the region's countries. New projects such as the Darbaza-Makhtaral Railway that will connect Kazakhstan with Uzbekistan and Turkmenbashi-Garaboghaz Road in Turkmenistan with the city of Zhanaozen in Kazakhstan will further increase the connectivity in the region. Kazakh leader's speech successfully presented Kazakhstan as one of the major transit countries in the region. The number of examples brought by the president has shown that the roads passing through Kazakhstan are the shortest in time for inter-regional connectivity. On the other hand, the president of the Kyrgyz Republic mentioned the importance of implementing the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan railway. Having been in discussion for over 20 years, the construction work on the railway project can start in 2023. Although this railway can divert the trade flow from China to Europe from Russian territory to the Central Asian soil, it also possesses the possibility of diverting the possible trade flow from the Kazakhstan route to the new Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan routes. The issue of cooperation in the environmental protection was also discussed during the meeting. The president of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, proposed the approval of green agenda prepared by the Uzbek side to be discussed during the meeting. The countries of the region eventually adopted the agenda. It includes the recommendation to follow the internationally agreed obligations on decarbonization, the development of energy production from alternative energy resources such as wind, hydro and solar energy, and the use of ecologically clean technologies in the production. The importance of preserving the Aral Sea and the river basin Amu Darya was mentioned in the speech of Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov, where he called for the revival of the agreement of 1998 on cooperation on the regulation of the flow of the river Amu Darya. The drought of the Aral Sea and the basins of Amu Darya and Sirdarya rivers affect 4 out of 5 Central Asian countries, making efforts to preserve one of the fields of possible cooperation that can grow into more substantial initiatives. The achievements of the fourth meeting included a mutual declaration, the concept of cooperation of countries of Central Asian region in multilateral formats, the Green Agenda for Central Asia, and the roadmap for the development of regional cooperation from 2022 to 2024. However, one particular document, the Treaty on Friendship, Good Neighborliness and Cooperation for the Development of Central Asia in the 21st Century, has been signed only by the leaders of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. The leaders of Tajikistan and Turkmenistan took responsibility for signing the treaty upon completing domestic procedures in their countries. Adopting this document by all regional countries can reshape the rhetoric in the regional geopolitical structure, allowing regional countries to play a more significant role in determination of region's future. Although the goals are not extraordinary, the obstacles in front of them are quite significant. While the leaders of Turkmenistan and Tajikistan have claimed to sign the treaty after the finalization of internal procedures, it is crucial to understand the reason for such abstention, as the countries have still not signed the treaty. Since the legislation of these three countries ensures greater power for their leaders, the signing of the treaties depend on the president's decision. The primary reason for Turkmenistan not signing the treaty is its stance in the international arena since its independence, which is the policy of neutrality. Unlike other countries in the region, Turkmenistan is not a member of any regional organization or union, such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Eurasian Economic Union, or Collective Security Treaty Organization. Formally, Turkmenistan is not even a member of the Commonwealth of Independent States, as the parliament of the country has not ratified this decision. Thus, it was expected from Turkmenistan to refrain from signing any treaty that required a commitment to a deeper integration. The case of Tajikistan is different, as the reason for not signing the treaty is rooted in its conflicting situation with Kyrgyzstan. The conflict escalated until it reached violent clashes in the spring of 2021, with 50 people killed on both sides. While Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan have agreed to resolve the issue in a bilateral format without any third party, the treaty encourages a regional platform for resolving local conflicts and abstention from using of force on each other. Having an aim of greater regional cooperation, the region's countries need to consider an increase in internal trade turnover within Central Asian region. Having developing economies based either on the export of natural resources or energy coming from hydropower, as in the case of Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, The region's countries are highly dependent on trade with external actors, such as Russia and China. Although trade turnover with external actors is high in the region, the trade turnover within Central Asia accounts for a small share in the total turnover of each country. From the table, it can be seen that in 2021, the share of trade turnover with China and Russia accounted for around 24 and 17% respectively, from the total trade turnover of Kazakhstan. It can be also seen that the sum of the shares with the countries of the region accounted for only 6.2%. A similar picture can be seen with the other countries of the region. The share of the regional trade turnover accounts for numbers from 5 to 25% in the region's countries. However, the share of the total trade turnover with Russia and China accounts for numbers from 30 up to 50%. Observing the numbers on the table, it's crucial to notice that the exact value of turnover between Kazakhstan and the countries of the region accounts for a lower share in the total turnover of Kazakhstan, and at the same time for a higher share in the turnover of each other country in the region. Such difference in share comes from the greater extent of the economy of Kazakhstan, which accounts for around half of the total value of region's GDP. Such disparity in the size of the economies can benefit Kazakhstan, which can focus on exporting goods and services to the region, giving it more significant economic and political influence in the regional affairs. At the same time, the rest of the region can become less reliant on the external trade. Investments by Kazakhstan in sectors other than energy, focusing on the export-oriented production of the equipment needed for the development of the agricultural and energy sectors in the region's neighboring countries, can effectively help the region divert from the external economic dependency. While aiming to balance the external influence in Central Asia by creating a local platform for the peaceful resolution of local crises, it's also essential for the region's countries to consider their dependence on the military sphere. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan are the members of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, which became military organization in 2002, originating from the Collective Security Treaty signed in 1992. Membership in this organization makes these three countries allies of the Russian Federation, thus giving them obligations according to the Collective Security Treaty. However, the effectiveness of such an alliance has been questioned on several occasions. The simplest example is the membership of both Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, which had several border disputes resulting in many clashes. According to the Article 1 of the Collective Security Treaty, the member states shall confirm the obligation to abstain from the use of force or threat by force in the interstate relations. They shall undertake to settle all disagreements among themselves and other states by peaceful means. Another issue on the way to balancing the external influence is the country's dependence on the imports of military equipment from Russia in all countries of the region, with the exception of Turkmenistan. According to data from the Swedish International Peace Research Institute on arms trade by importers and exporters, the percentage of military imports from Russia concerning total arms imports in each country between 1991 and 2021 was 94% in Tajikistan, 86.9% in Kyrgyzstan, 85.7% in Kazakhstan, nearly 40% in Uzbekistan, and only 22.4% in Turkmenistan. According to the same data for 2021, the Russian Federation supplied 100% of military equipment imports to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. This data clearly shows the dominance of Russian exports in the arms trade in Central Asia and the need for diversification for any serious attempt to balance the external influence in the region. But why? Why did this idea revive now while having so many obstacles? The idea of a common Central Asian regional vision for the development was first proposed by the previous president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, during the second consultative meeting of the Central Asian states in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, in 2019. Back then, the idea of such treaty could not gain much attention and was forgotten due to the rise of global pandemic. To understand the reason of Kazakhstan's proposal, one should scrutinize deeper the competition of past for policy making, which are influenced by the ideas of Eurasianism, deeper Central Asian cooperation, and the development of Kazakhstan as a separate player in the international arena, under the new name of Kazakh elite. Eurasianism in Kazakh literature started its development from the representatives of Kazakh literature, such as Oljas Süleymanov in his book called Asia, or famous historian Lev Gumilev. When compared to the ideas of Gumilev, Süleymanov gives a more significant role to the Turkic sentiment in the development of the Eurasian sphere. He gives examples of the loanwords from the Turkic languages in the Song of Aigur's Campaign, an epic Russian poem of the early second millennium. The territory of modern Kazakhstan in Eurasianist ideology is not only the center of Eurasian sphere, but also the Turkic world. The ideology of Eurasianism in Kazakh understanding took its current shape during the time of previous president in the office, Nursultan Nazarbayev, who was referring to Kazakhstan as the heart of the Eurasian sphere while resembling the views of Lev Gumilev in actions. Using it in the state policy making, the previous president has multiple times attempted to initiate ideas for the greater integration of the Eurasian, in this example post-Soviet sphere. He was the author of the idea of the Eurasian Economic Union. However, after significant demonstration of Russian power in the post-Soviet sphere, such as the Russo-Georgian War, the 2014 Ukrainian War, and eventually the military operation of 2022 in Ukraine, has led to the greater concern in the Kazakh society. The continuous shift of the economic advantage towards Russia due to the EU's formation and Moscow's growing willingness to use force led to the decline in the desire to pursue Eurasianist policies. On the other hand, Central Asia-oriented policymaking offers Kazakhstan an emerging market in which Kazakhstan possesses the biggest economy, the expansion of which can benefit the region. The change in the strategy of Uzbekistan for development under the new president Shavkat Mirziyoyev, who seeks to extend the external relations of Uzbekistan both in and beyond the region, has opened new perspectives for Kazakhstan to deepen the cooperation. Thus, the policy of deepening relations is used more actively by the current president of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. The relations between these two countries has been developing at an incredible pace. In December 2021, with the visit of the president of Uzbekistan to Kazakhstan, a new declaration on allied relations was signed. During the meeting, the goal of reaching $10 billion in trade turnover was agreed upon. Similarly, during the visit of Kazakh Prime Minister to Kyrgyzstan in April of 2022, together with the chair of the Cabinet of Ministers of Kyrgyzstan, they declared the goal of doubling the trade turnover between these two countries. Thus, it is possible to observe the will for deeper cooperation among the Central Asian states, which is exceptionally sensible in the case of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Now let's consider what the outcomes of this summit were. While the summit did not result in a significant change in the regional geopolitical structure, it did demonstrate the region's partial interest in deviating from the influence of external actors in the region, through the partial adoption of the treaty and semi-commitment to the increase in economic cooperation among the countries of the region. The points on the screen can be the recommendations from my video. To decrease dependency in military sphere, countries need to institutionalize the cooperation in the sphere of security. To reduce the economic dependency on the external actors, countries of the region must work to increase the internal trade turnover in the Central Asian region. Kazakhstan should focus on the production of machinery and export to the countries of the region. The regional cooperation should be institutionalized beyond the consultative meetings platforms. I am Inner Eurasian Reporter, and it was my first analysis in this channel. To support my channel, do not forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit the bell button to receive the updates on my channel.